Hello, friends. Hi. How's everyone doing? All right. So welcome back to Dubster Dive. This time we're here with the Eighth Son. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Are you kidding me? It's really so. I'm sure you guys couldn't tell that it's a light novel with a title like that. That's not even a title. That's two questions. Whatever. Let's just get into this. So, The Eighth Son is a light novel or a web novel series written by YA, guess it's a pen name, and illustrated by Fuzi Choco. It ran from June 2013 to March 2017, and then was adapted as light novels from April 2014 with 18 volumes as of December last year. An anime adaptation by Shine Animation, the people behind Shin-Chan, Master Takagi-san, and the upcoming World Ends With You anime adaptation, would handle this anime. It would air from April to June of this year, with Crunchyroll starting their simuldub of it in May of this year, and it recently wrapped up. So, let's get into yet another generic-ass isekai. So, firstly, the show already pisses me off. When it opens up, being as how it starts off with all the characters already being established before heading into a flashback of what happened, saying 10 years earlier. Look, I hate this style of storytelling, I genuinely do, because depending on how much information they give you, it can ruin the entire experience. Because it could do that whole thing of, well, I already know none of these characters are going to have anything tragic happen to them because they're all here, and they're happy and celebrating. So, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of this style of storytelling. It can be done well, definitely. There are times when it can be handled really well. But, I guess that's my preference. Anyway, so our main character, Vendolin, after we go into his flashback, he's a normal, average, everyday 25-year-old office worker who comes home one day, falls asleep, and wakes up in another world that's a fantasy land as a young dude. Okay, and it just so happens he is reincarnated in this isekai world as the eighth son in a poor noble family. Poor noble, I don't know, it sounds kind of contradictory. I guess those exist. I don't know, ignore me, I'm being silly. But yes, he's the eighth son, meaning he probably isn't entitled to hardly anything from this family. Not like that matters when he's a Mary Sue, or I guess a Gary Stu in this case, because he's male. Don't mean to misgender, but you know, I don't want to do that. With ultimate OP magic abilities, and everyone loves him, etc., etc. Afterwards, he goes to magical school, or adventurous school, I guess, to find other friends, and eventually become a better noble. And that's basically the setup for this. I will give this show one thing, it tries doing the whole themology thing of just because someone is the eighth son, doesn't mean you should completely ignore them. You know, don't focus only on your eldest child because they're the ones that will inherit everything in a family of nobles. All of the main characters come from a family like that, where it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to get shit because I'm, like, the third child, or etc. So I understand the themes going on here, and the show tries focusing more on the political aspect of that. I guess that's unique. The problem is, Vendolin himself, our main character, is very generic. There's nothing unlikable about him, but other than the fact that he's a nice guy who wants to become a noble, there's really not much going on there. He wants to protect his friends, his family, and do everything right for those around him. That's basically it. Moving on from that, though, we'll get into more of that later, I guess, and at the end of this. The animation, from what I heard from people saying, is average. It does use CGI splooge, as me and Di have dubbed it. Like, the CGI skeletons, I heard look awful. So, that's something. I don't know, CGI, I've always heard people bitch, never mixes well with animation, you know, standard 2D animation. It always looks silly. So, moving on from that, we got the soundtrack, which in my opinion is very... It's just generic. Nothing wrong with it. It's okay. I personally really like the opening theme. I think the opening's cool. But, yeah. Now let's get into the reason that this series is called Dubster Dive. So, firstly, I was unable to find the ADR director. Again, why do I have so much trouble finding this out? So frustrating. Whatever. So let's start with our main character, Vendelin, which I have to ask, was Vendelin his name in the first world he was in, you know, in our world? Because you never find out his name when he was on Earth. But yeah, he's voiced by Ben Diskin, who I'm sure needs no introduction, being as how he's been in Tales of Berseria, Kingdom Hearts 3, he's Sai in Naruto, he's in Bleach. The guy has a resume that speaks for itself. As far as here, I'd say he does adequate. It's not one of his most amazing roles, in my opinion. He does an average job. Moving on from him, we have Elise, who is his betrothed. I know some people might count that as spoiler, but again, you see the way they act in the first 2 minutes of the show before it goes to a flashback. It's pretty obvious that they're the main ship, which I'll give this show one thing. It tells you up front the second she shows up, they're the main ship, and they are in a committed relationship soon after. So it doesn't waste time with the harem BS. I gotta give this show credit for that. I'm sorry. That is something a lot of anime and isekai in particular suffer from. But anyway, Elise is voiced by Reba Bjor, who we've covered a few times here before on High Score Girl, Saint Seiya the Lost Canvas, and she's also mine from Ascendance of a Bookworm. An anime we really need to cover at some point, maybe after Season 2's over. After her, we have Luis, who is one of Vendelin's concubines, and I gotta give this show, I guess, say it's a little ballsy for saying, yeah, the other members of the harem, they're concubines. He has one wife and then he has concubines. Like, can't say how often I've seen that in an anime, at least lightly. Anyway, she's voiced by Jeremy Lee, who has been everywhere lately. Jeremy Lee, as stated before, is Lucy from Fairy Tail. She's been in High Score Girl. Hell, we covered her before, I believe, in Danganronpa as well. So, yeah, she's all over the place. And, again, I think she does a good job. Her and Reba Bjor both, they do an okay job with what they're given. After that, we have Ina, voiced by Erica Mendez. Erica Mendez, a lot of people probably know her as Megumin from Konosuba, or Sungmina from Soul Calibur 6, as well as numerous other roles. And she is Vendelin's second concubine, and again, I think she does an okay job with what she's given. After that, we have Erwin, or the dub sometimes calls him Irvin. I don't really get that, but okay. Voiced by Billy Kometz, Villains Komettance, as I like to call him. Or Josuke from JoJo Diamond is Unbreakable, Naofumi from Shield Hero. And he's probably my favorite character in this show. No joke, he has some of the best lines, and his personality's great. I almost wish we were following him instead of Vendelin, to be honest. Because he's... How do I put it? He's the lovable dork type. You know, he's an idiot, but he means well. And, like, he's really stupid and says a lot of dumb shit, but he's likable. But yeah. After that, we have the final main, Wilma, voiced by Veronica Taylor, or Ash fucking Ketchum. And to be honest, she does okay here. Again, it's hard to say with this dub, because it's just average. I know I said that before with Drifting Dragons, but I've heard these voice actors, all of them, in much better roles. It's no slight to any of them. All of them did fine for this show. But, yeah. After that, we have Xander Mobius, Chris Hackney, as well as Keiji Tang. You know, the typical regulars that you'd have in a typical California-based dub like this. I will say the double casting was a little bit here. There were multiple KG Tangs. How Erica Mendez voices the young version of Vendolin. And then she voices a main character. And it's one of those things that you'll pick up on right away, because the first 2 minutes of the anime, you see Vendolin interacting with everyone, right? So he interacts with Erica Mendez's character, Ina. And then it goes to the flashback of 10 years earlier, and you see Vendolin's young version, you hear him talk, and it's Erica Mendez again. Like, what? If you're not paying close attention, you're going to be a little, like, just, it's a little jarring, is all I'm saying. Now, overall, The Eighth Son isn't the worst isekai I've seen. Far from it, in fact. And at least it stuck to its guns and was consistent overall with what it was trying to do, even if I think it could have handled itself a little better and made Vendolin a little more flawed, I guess. I mean, there are moments where Vendolin is slipping and he's like, you know, I should have done this instead, but I don't feel like they explored that enough. And I know a lot of people actually really like this isekai, and that's fine. It's just, for me personally, this aired at the same time as My Next Life as a Villainess and Ascendance of a Bookworm Season 2, and those are leagues better in terms of isekai, in my opinion. And even if you don't want to compare it to those two in particular, stand this up next to Overlord and My Next Life as a Shield Hero. The Rising of the Shield Hero, rather. And I think you'll understand where I'm coming from here. But hey, by all means, give this show a watch and see what you think of it. I'm going to give this show somewhere around the C category. I didn't hate it, but I do get the feeling that in about 6 months to a year or so, I'm probably not going to remember much about this one. It didn't leave a long-lasting impression on me personally. If it gets a Season 2, which as of right now there's no news on that, I might check it out, but I don't see that happening. I believe My Next Life as a Villainess was greenlit for a Season 2, and hell, Bookworm was just greenlit for a Season 3. But I haven't heard anything on this, and keep in mind, it's been over in Japan for nearly 2 months now. So, I wouldn't say it's impossible for this to get a second season, but it might be a little unlikely at the moment. Especially when there are, quite frankly, far superior isekai out there. Again, that's just my opinion. Never stated it was matter of fact, but yeah. What about all of you? What did you guys think of The Eighth Son? And let us know down below. Did you like it more than I did? Did you hate it? I don't know. Like I said, I'm right in the middle on it. It's another average, generic isekai to me, with really interesting themes I felt could have been explored better. And for those wondering if it has an ending, kind of. I say kind of because it wrapped up the current arc it was on, but it still left loose plot threads open. And with 18 light novels, that's kind of expected. I don't know. But hey, if you have any other anime you'd like us to cover, please leave a comment down below and we'll try to get to them eventually. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah. Hope you all have yourselves a great day, and I'll see y'all next time, guys. Thanks again.